Northgate High, a place of learning, they called it, a place of opportunity. But the whispers in the hallways told a different story, a story of cold dread, a story of shadows that moved on their own. The building itself seemed to groan under the weight of its years, each creak of the floorboards like a whispered warning. Dust caked the windows, obscuring the sunlight and casting the classrooms in a perpetual gloom. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of mildew and forgotten memories. It was in these shadow corridors that the past met the present, where the echoes of forgotten tragedies lingered like the smell of stale cigarette smoke. And it was here, within these very walls, that the students of Northgate High learned the true meaning of fear. They came in the dead of night, these whispers, soft, sibilant murmurs that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. They spoke of forgotten horrors, of unspeakable acts that stained the school's history. Some students claimed to hear their names called out in the darkness, their voices beckoning them towards some unknown fate. Others spoke of fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures lurking at the edge of their vision, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The faculty dismissed these stories as childish pranks or overactive imaginations. But the students knew better. They felt it in their bones, this sense of unease, this feeling that they were being watched. They were not alone. The ghosts of Northgate High were not all malevolent. Some were merely lost souls, trapped between worlds and unable to move on. They wandered the halls, their sorrow and regret clinging to them like a shroud. There was Emily, the young girl who had died in a tragic accident on the school grounds. Her laughter could still be heard echoing through the empty corridors, a bittersweet reminder of a life cut short. And then there was Samuel, the star athlete, whose promising future was shattered by a drunk driver. His presence could be felt in the gymnasium, his spectral form still practicing his jump shot long after the final bell had rung. These echoes of the past were a constant reminder to the living students of their own mortality, a haunting reminder that life was fleeting and precious. But they also served as a bridge between the two worlds, a way for the past to communicate with the present. The library at Northgate High was a place of silence, where the only sound was the rustle of pages turning and the occasional cough. But beneath the surface there was a current of something darker, something more sinister. It was said that the ghosts of former librarians still roamed the stacks, their spectral fingers tracing the spines of their beloved books. Students spoke of feeling cold spots, even on the hottest of days, and of hearing the faint whisper of voices long stilled. But the most unsettling phenomenon was the way the books themselves seemed to move. Volumes would disappear from their shelves, only to reappear days later in a completely different section. Pages would turn on their own, as if an unseen hand was searching for a specific passage. The library, once a sanctuary of knowledge, had become a repository of fear. Northgate High had a long and storied history, dating back over a century. Over the years, it had seen its fair share of tragedy and heartbreak. Wars had claimed the lives of its students, accidents had cut short promising futures, and illness had taken its toll. Each of these tragedies had left its mark on the school like scars on the skin. The ghosts of the past were not merely figments of the imagination. They were the echoes of real people, their energy and emotions imprinted on the very fabric of the building. The school's history was etched in its stone walls, in its worn floorboards, and in the very air that the students breathed. It was a history that refused to be forgotten, a history that continued to haunt the present. Old Man Withers had been the janitor at Northgate High for as long as anyone could remember. He was a man of few words, his weathered face and calloused hands, testament to a life of hard work. But there was a sadness in his eyes, a depth of knowledge that hinted at a past shrouded in darkness. One evening, as the last of the students were leaving for the day, Old Man Withers pulled aside a group of them. "This place," he rasped, his voice hoarse with age. "It ain't right. The things that happened here, they left their mark. Be careful, children. Don't let the darkness take hold." With that, he turned and shuffled off down the hallway, his words hanging in the air like a curse. The students, shaken by his warning, hurried out of the school and into the relative safety of the night. But the old man's words lingered in their minds, casting a shadow over their thoughts. As the weeks turned into months, the strange occurrences at Northgate High continued to escalate. Doors slammed shut on their own, lights flickered erratically, and disembodied voices whispered through the empty corridors. One night, a group of students decided to investigate. Armed with flashlights and walkie-talkies, they snuck into the school after dark, determined to get to the bottom of the haunting. They crept through the darkened hallways, their hearts pounding in their chests, their every sense on high alert. As they rounded a corner, they were met with a sight that sent chills down their spines. Standing at the end of the hallway, bathed in an eerie green light, was a figure. It was tall and slender, with long, sharp fingers and eyes that glowed with an unnatural intensity. The students froze in their tracks, their blood turning to ice. The figure in the hallway began to move towards them, its footsteps completely silent. The students, paralyzed with fear, could only watch as it approached. Closer and closer it came, its eyes burning into their very souls. Suddenly, one of the students, a girl named Sarah, stepped forward. "Leave us alone," she cried, her voice trembling. "We don't want any trouble." To their surprise, the figure stopped. It tilted its head to the side as if considering her words. Then it opened its mouth, and a voice, cold and hollow, echoed through the hallway. "This is our school," it hissed. "You are merely trespassers. Leave now and never return." And with that, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving the students standing alone in the darkness. The students, shaken but unharmed, fled the school that night, their minds racing with questions. What had they seen? Was it a ghost, a demon, or something else entirely? They never returned to Northgate High after dark, but the memory of that night stayed with them, a constant reminder that there were some things in this world that defied explanation. The school itself remained, a brooding presence overlooking the town, its secrets locked away within its walls. And so the haunting of Northgate High continued, a testament to the enduring power of the past and the unseen forces that shape our lives. The boundary between the living and the dead, it seemed, was thinner than anyone had ever imagined.